episode. Thank you so much for being here. And it's a special package we have for you. Draw closer to your TV set to learn one or two things as it concerns real estate. I think that's the in thing now. We have in the studio builder Oyefemi Oyekunle Benjamin, MDCO, Real Own Reality Limited. We are glad to have you in the studio this morning to talk about livable, a green and livable Anambra housing and real estate development to the rescue. Welcome to the studio.
Good morning, Ma. Thank you very much.
It's a privilege to have you.
Thank you very much, Ma.
All right. You're welcome to the studio, and we are here with our own Oyefemi Oyekunle Benjamin. Now, what's your experience like when it comes to real estate in this part of the country?
Well, it's beautiful. And one of the things that I've actually observed in Anambra State is that Anambra State people are people that love acquisition of properties. And one of the things I've observed is that almost all the properties that we have around the road here is actually owned by somebody already. So somehow, this land is actually open for investments and investors. One of the times that the governor was talking, he said that if you do it in Anambra State here, it's going to get every support. You are going to get every support from the government. So real estate is booming here, and I believe that anybody that invests in real estate in Anambra now is doing it in the right direction.
All right. Now, when we talk about real estate, it's as if the year end and it's been an in thing all over the country. When you go to Lagos, Abuja, people are going into real estate. Now, what does it take for an individual to be or to own a house in real estate or to be a part of what you guys are doing?
Okay, to start with, most of the times, people believe that only real estate, only rich people can do real estate. And one of the things that we have actually done so far is to think about how to help individuals, people that don't have much of the money, to do real estate. And from olden days, if you look at it, one of the ways our fathers, our grandfathers acquired properties is through land banking. They buy land over a period of times, and they flip their land to send their children abroad, and so many things like that. So those are the steps. The first step that any individual can take to own real estate assets is to start by buying land. So that's the first thing anybody, it doesn't matter where the land is, inside bush, wherever, start by buying a piece of the earth, start by buying a piece of land anywhere. So that's the first stage that anyone that wants to invest in real estate should start from.
All right, if you want to invest in real estate, you start by buying land. And we know that in this part of the country, sometimes money could be a challenge to so many people, especially civil servants in this part of the world. Now, what do you advise when it comes to maybe a worker or a civil servant that is interested, but is looking at what his or her income, how do you encourage such person to come into real estate?
Okay. They say information is power. And one of the reasons why people actually are set back in real estate investment is because of the volume of the information that they have. Many people are limited by information, and what they are being told is what they know. But what my company, for example, designed is a way, we call it own a piece of the earth. Most of the time, somebody wants to own a plot of land. But that's not, a plot is what somebody tells you a plot is. But in reality, you can own a piece. As low as 1 square meter of land is possible for acquisition. Because one of the things that you can actually use to enter real estate investment is by acquiring a piece of a real estate development. You don't have to own the whole property. You can actually go to a company that actually offers equity in their property. You own equity in real estate project. The easiest way to own real estate is actually to own it with somebody. Okay. Most of the times, you look like they say, their family lands is not individually owned. There are companies like our own company that actually allows people to own a part of our estate. When you leverage on the real estate market, you can make your own money from that market and actually start developing your own. That's how real estate works. Because if you have to wait to your own, maybe till you have money to come and develop that land, it will be long. But when you leverage on a market that is already thriving, you can earn profit. And from that profit, you can start developing yours or buy yours. That is how people can actually enter into real estate. So the summary is invest in land banking. And you can do this land banking through corporate. It can be a corporate land banking. It doesn't have to be you buying land into a bush. Maybe you are trying to develop it over a period of time. You pay for security, clearing, and all that. But when you go to a company that already acquires property, you can own an equity in their land. So let's assume that my company owns about 81,200 square meters at Enugu Agidi presently. Okay. And that property, you as an individual, as a civil servant, you can own as low as 5 square meters of that land. As our company is making profit, you as an individual, you are making profit too. Okay. So that's one of the ways that individuals that don't have big cash, big volumes, can actually own real estate.
As much as how much are we talking about?
You can own real estate as low as 67,500 naira. Yeah, because a square meter of our property costs 13,500. Okay. So if you are looking at it from that direction, you don't have to wait till you have 1 million naira. So you can own it in 5s, in 10, in 20s, and you are going to be an equity owner of that property. So that is how you can start small. At the long run, your money after the first year, maybe the company promised you about 40% return on investment, and 1 million, let's say 1 million, for example, becomes 1.4 million, and the second year becomes 1.9 million or thereabouts. And as it goes, you are going to be acquiring money from the same market without doing anything. So if you now want to make your own investment, you don't have to start from savings. You are already leveraging on the real estate market. So that's one of the things that individuals can do to invest in real estate.
All right. The present administration under Governor Chukwuma Soludo's dream is to see a green and livable Anambra. Now, what's the relationship between green and livable Anambra and housing and real estate development?
Okay. Talking about housing in Anambra State is ripe for housing development now. And according to the vision of the governor, number one thing is that he wants to have an urban environment like Anambra State. One of my encounters with the Commissioner of Housing, it was like, Anambra State is one of the states in Nigeria that is developing evenly. Like if you go to the village, it's developing. If you go to the cities, it's developing. But one of the things that we need to actually do is that our people need to understand also that it takes corporate involvement, that is people involvement to build a city. It is my desire that Oka become one of the cities that is well recognized in the world. And one of the things that we can do is to engage in massive development, housing development. That's one of the things that we can do in Anambra State. So the relationship between the green and livable environment is that it's directly focused towards housing. So when we're talking about green and livable environments, you are talking about an environment that is less polluted, that has one of the physical planning laws now is that if you have a property that you can't develop more than 65% of that property, you must have a green area inside that place. So those are other things so that people's health can be improved at the long run. So those are the things that the relationship between housing and talking about the green environment. Yeah.
All right, in case you're just dropping by, is Good Morning Anambra, a green and livable Anambra housing and real estate development to the rescue, part 2. And we have in the studio builder Oyefemi Oyekunle Benjamin talking to us. So the program is open for interaction. You can go to our Facebook page to drop any comments. You can also call the phone line on the screen to ask any question. The builder here in the studio will give you the right answers to your question. And okay, let's talking about this green and livable Anambra housing and real estate development to the rescue. You know, how long have you been in Anambra State, and what can you say about people, you know, getting interest or getting interested in real estate in Anambra State? Okay,
personally, I was a NYC a core member in Anambra State 2017, so I've been here for 6 years now. As a builder by profession, that's how I started my career. And I saw opportunity in real estate.
Okay.
And if you look at it, I'm a Yoruba man, and I believe in the prosperity of this land, and I believe in the prospect. And if I can go into real estate in Anambra as a stranger in this land, how much more the indigenous? So real estate is actually open to everybody, and I've seen the prospect, and I want everybody out there to see the prospect of real estate in Anambra State. Just like every other cities of the world were built, Lagos, Abuja, so Anambra State can be built.
Okay, now what can you tell us about your company? You know, how do you people give people access, people of Anambra State access to own, you know, land through you? Tell us all about it. What's your company doing for Anambra to have access to lands through your company? Okay,
one of the things that we do also in Anambra State to make sure that Anambra indigenes can own real estate in Anambra State here is that we actually source our properties from the direct source. Most of the times, this area is a little bit, most of the time people want to invest and they invest through the wrong people. And most of the time they get a property that maybe has litigation on it already. But we actually want to clear that. That's why we are building a brand that helps people to invest safely, to buy property safely. So in Anambra State here, there are several ways that we have been able to extend our development to Anambra State indigenes. Number one is that in our properties, you can actually pay over a period of time if you want to own a property.
That's
for people.
installmental payments.
Yes, it's available for people. But most of the times, we used to advise people that if you look at your cash flow and you can't meet up to the property you are actually interested in, what you can do is to leverage on that property, and that's what we call land banking. So if you cannot buy a land that is worth 7 million naira or 10 million naira, that doesn't mean you should escape from that, like you ignore that thriving market. All you need to do is to invest in that property, just like buying stock of Coca-Cola or Amazon or Tesla in the world. You can buy a share or a stock of a real estate company that way. So we call it equity ownership. You can own an equity in an estate. So when you leverage on that, you can acquire more money to buy the location that might be next, the developing area in Anambra State. Okay,
you know, land is kind of a long-term, for people that are not developing immediately, it seems a long-term investment. And I don't know, with the situation of Nigerian economy today, do you think people are still willing to venture into that long-term investment when majority of the people want to see their investment thrive immediately, or to see returns immediately to enable them, you know, keep up with the economic trend of the nation currently?
Okay, if I'm to say to that, real estate to start with is a long-term investment that is transferable from generation to generation. So people need to first understand this, that real estate is not something that you just jump in today and say you want to go out tomorrow. At least if you must invest in real estate, you must be able to wait for at least 1 year. If your intention of investing in real estate is development.
So in other words, anybody that needs to be seeing returns immediately is not meant for real estate.
It's not that they are not meant for real estate.
Okay.
One of the things that you can do is to actually opt for the investment options. You can buy, you can develop a property. Service apartments is available in Anambra State. Like, you can actually invest in service apartments. You can own a unit of service apartments. For example, if you get a JV contract in Anambra State here, where somebody owns a land in a good location, and our company offers to develop the house maybe into an hotel, you as an individual, if the building costs 1 billion naira, you as an individual can own 1% of that property, which is about 1 million naira. So if you do that, and we start letting out that properties and hiring it and giving it to people, you can be earning passively every month. That is a way you can earn from real estate. So real estate is very diverse, it's very wide. So it's not just about properties ownership, about land ownership.
Okay. And if you're just joining us, it's Good Morning Anambra, a green and livable Anambra housing and real estate development to the rescue, part 2. And of course, we have in the studio builder Oyefemi Oyekunle Benjamin, the MD, CEO, Real Own Reality Realty Limited. Okay, thank you so much. Now tell us about this company. Where exactly are you located? How can people have access to your office? If anybody watching us would want to, you know, do business with you or invest in what you are doing, how do we locate you?
Okay, our company is just close by here on the express. We are at GMA House beside Mr. Smith Hotel, Oka. Okay. Just on Enugu-Onitsha Expressway here, Agoka area, precisely. Flat 1, GMA House, beside Mr. Smith Hotel. Anyone that knows Mr. Smith Hotel, just on the express after Aroma, you see very close to the government house. That's where our office is located presently.
Okay. Now, we have so many people going into real estate, and in Anambra State, you're not the only one, or you're not even the first. You're not going to be the last. Yeah. Now, okay. Now, tell us the challenge you face in this industry, because I believe is the in thing in all over Nigeria, even beyond Nigeria. You know, tell us what are the challenges you face as, you know, so many people are coming up with real estate.
Well, one of the challenges
because looking at the view of how you're going to survive in the industry.
You know, it takes a lot of wit to do real estate. It takes a lot of patience. And one of the challenges that we've actually faced in development is that real estate itself becomes a seasonal market. Yeah. And it's something that most of the time people want to wait till maybe the year end or early period of the year to invest in real estate. And most of the time that takes time. And secondarily, because of the nature of the environment presently, people invest around the year in some other places. But in Anambra here, people want to wait till the end of the year. Secondly, one of the challenges that real estate is facing in the southeast or in Anambra State is that most of the times people want to build in their village. That's one is a major challenge that people will prefer to build in their village than build in the cities. People want to build in their family land than build in the city. So it's one of the challenges that the real estate market is facing in Anambra State here. And most of the time when people even buy land, they won't develop because they will go to their village first to develop. So thirdly, one of the challenges we are facing is cooperation with the individual villagers and all sorts of like. It's one of the challenges that we are facing in real estate in Anambra State presently.
Okay. Now the program, we are going to take a short break. When we return, we continue. And of course, how to encourage people to invest in real estate with the with the Real Own Realty Limited.
Is truly milky and contains calcium. No need to add milk for that rich, creamy cup, which helps to nourish and energize your kids. The new Milo 3-in-1 Milky and Creamy is truly milky and contains calcium. No need to add milk for that rich, creamy cup, which helps to nourish and energize your kids. Milo.
Right, you're welcome back to the live studios of Good Morning Anambra, where we're looking at a green and livable Anambra, housing and real estate development to the rescue. Part 2. In the studio, we have a builder who is actually talking to us, or letting us know what we need to know about real estate in Anambra State. Builder Oyefemi Oyekunle Benjamin in the studio. Thank you so much once again for being here. Now, at this point, you know, so many people believe that for you to own a land, you need to have big money to be able to own land, not to talk of owning a house, or, so I don't know if you can talk to, there are so many people, that the civil servants, the artisans, the women in the markets, and so many other people that may be interested in what you guys are doing.
Okay. I'm going to be open to market women, civil servants, artisans, and people that think they have no business with investing in real estate generally. One of the ways they can actually invest in real estate is to understand the market first. Real estate has two behaviors. Number one is that it doesn't depreciate. Secondly, real estate appreciates over time. Okay. So if you understand these two properties of real estate, the thing that you can do as an individual is to leverage on the market. Forget about acquisition. Understand leverage. So one of the ways you can actually leverage on real estate market is by looking for companies that offer those kind of facilities. In our company, we offer a way that you can actually own a piece of the earth. We don't say come and own a plot of land. We say own a piece of the earth. You can be a landlord. There's a general term we use to say that to get land, no ad. Now you define one plot of land. So most of the times you can own as low as 1 square meter. A square meter of land in Lekki today may cost about 1.5 million naira, just 1 square meter. So if you understand that in our estate today, a square meter of land costs 13,500. So if you understand that if you can hold 1 square meter of our land for 10 years, you might be looking at a square meter that costs 300,000 in 1 year or 500,000 in 10 years. So one of the things that we are looking at is telling people out there that don't think about owning it all. You can own it with a real estate company. So if you come to Real Own Realty Limited, we're going to give you the access to owning the property with us. So as the company is making profit over a period of time, you as an individual too, you are making profits. So, and you can own as low as 67,500. And you have a guaranteed return of 40% in a year. Mm-hmm. So, and if you look at compound interest, you can own at least 400% in 5 years and more as the year goes by. So that's one of the things that individuals can do. When you do that, you can use it as a kind of funds. You want to send your children to school. You don't have to start thinking about how will I pay my children's school fees. Mm-hmm. You invest ahead of time, and instead of using your hard-earned money to pay for all those things, pay for house rent, you are using a leverage system to pay for your obligations.
How?
Okay, when you invest 67,500 with our company is going to use that money to develop the land, bring it to the taste of people where people want to live, okay. A livable environment, like we were saying. Mm. And when people come, they buy the land at an appreciated value. And at the long run, we as a company, we are sharing profits with our investors. Okay. So we give you a guaranteed 40% return in a year. That is what our company does. So when we get the money from individuals, they invested in the company, we use the land to do the necessary development that the land needs, bring fencing to the place, put lights, all the road and stuff like that. At the end of the day, people will come into the city and say they want to buy land, and somebody recommends our land, comes to the place and find it livable almost immediately. So at that time, they will be willing to pay any amount you give them for the land. And at the long run, we are going to be sharing profits with anybody that brings money at the initial, when you buy it, when it is low.
Okay, right now, what assurance, can an intending customer have to, partner with you or invest in your property? What's the assurance that what I'm going into is real? Because Nigeria being what it is today, sometimes people will say all manner of things, make all manner of promises, talk about all manner of beautiful policies. But at the end of the day, some people get disappointed with what has happened. So what's the assurance that your company is the real deal?
Okay, let me say this first. As an individual, I have never lost money to scam before. Okay. And that is because I understand investments and I know what is good for me. So also, before I can actually put my money into anything, it has to be calculated. So to start with, the property we're talking about that people are supposed to invest in, is a property that is already, that we own a title to. We own a title to the land. Secondarily, that land has a registration with the government. We have a registered survey with the government already. And furthermore, we are doing all we can to get a COO of that land. That is actually still in process. But one of the things that we want people to understand is that since we own a title to the land, what we are doing is a transferred equity to people, that you now own this property with us for the period of 1 year, if that's what you want, for the period of 5 years, if that's what you want. So we are transferring our title. So number one thing is that your money cannot be lost, like I said, because real estate does not depreciate. So one of the security to your money is that we are giving you an equity of our ownership. So you are owning it with us for the time of your contract. If you say you want it for 1 year, you are owning that property with us. So at the long run, if you want to sell it, we're going to sell it for you, and we're going to give you your money plus return. So the guarantee first is that it is backed by real estate. It's not a promise. You are not giving people promises. What you are buying is land, but you are buying it in a very small piece. Okay. That's one of the guarantees that we are giving to people.
Okay, but if I have more money, I can buy as much as I want.
Exactly.
Okay, now, do you develop the place for the buyer? How do you do it? You know, that is a real estate. It's not just land you sell, you build too.
Of course, yes.
So how do you do it? When somebody buys a property from you, do you build for the person, or the person can get anyone to build for him too? How do you do it?
Of course, in our company we have, I'm a builder by profession, and I have a team of builders, architects, surveyors, everybody on our team. So if a client comes, definitely we are going to offer to you that we would like to develop this place for you.
Okay, and now, from what you're saying, it's like professionalism, it's trying to come back into building practice in this part of the world.
Exactly. Professionalism is actually very important because just like nobody can practice medical practice because you just love it.
We know in Nigeria that builders, you see all these people that stay by the roadside, people get them to come and do their buildings for them, and sometimes, or recently, we've had stories of building collapse here and there in Lagos, Port Harcourt, even in Anambra here, you know. So that means what you guys are doing, it shows that in no distant time, the case of, building collapse will be a thing of the past.
Exactly. There is so much fight and so much war going on to actually curb building collapse in Nigeria and even in Anambra State. I happen to also be the Assistant General Secretary, Nigerian Institute of Building, Anambra State. Okay. And I'm also the Secretary, Builders in Private Practice, Anambra State. So there are so much work that is being put into curbing building collapse in Anambra State. And one of the things that we advise people is to engage the right professionals. Number one, an architect is meant to design your building. If an architect starts constructing a house for you, there is already quackery. Okay. When a surveyor is building a house, you're already encouraging quackery. And if he's not trained to do it, even if a pharmacist should not be doing the job of a medical doctor. So we need to understand this and create a balance among professionals in Anambra State. And one of the things that we can do is to enforce our building control laws in Anambra State here, just like developed countries, developed states in Nigeria are doing. So we need to enforce that law, the control of practice in the states. Also, quackery is not just among professionals. It's even it's worse among non-professional people that have nothing. Maybe you were once a mason and you have experience about 10 years or 20 years in construction, and you've seen it happen. Then you think you can build 4-story building. Those are one of the things that people can.
You know, and what you guys are doing is it's going to be quite a long fight, you know, and I begin to, in fact, my mind was just trying to run round, seeing those young men, if they are going to be thrown out of work, or if there's anything you guys are going to do, because some of them, there's this saying that experience is the best teacher. If some of them will be, you know, brought closer to be trained and retrained to join in what you're doing to ensure that we no longer have building collapse in this country. Is there any plan like that?
Definitely. We understand all this. And even the federal government has made it possible through the respective institutes. For example, Nigerian Institute of Building has the responsibility to train artisans and qualify them in Nigeria. That's the responsibility given to Nigerian Institute of Building. So artisans are not expected to be thrown out of the built environments. One of the things that we are recommending is that they are not supposed to undertake a project.
That an experienced person is supervise what they do.
Exactly. So they are not supposed to completely undertake a project. What they are supposed to do is to play their role. Everybody have their role to play. The architect, the builder, the structural engineer, the artisans. All these people are recognized people in the built environment, and they have their role to play. But what we are trying to tell people is that don't play another person's role in the delivery of housing projects.
You know, very important, because I know that in this country, you might see somebody that feels he's a builder, you know, he's been in the system for some time. And the person may, because maybe you feel you're sharp or you're intelligent to grab what another person is doing. So you, in the process, you do the work of a builder, do the work of an architect, do the work of a surveyor together. So what do you have a body that looks into this? Is there any way to sanction somebody that does such thing?
Okay, Nigerian Institute of Building is the institute that educates builders. And Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria is a regulatory body. Now we call it COBON, Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria. So it takes you going through school, whether the Polytechnic or the university, for 5 years, going under tutelage for about 3 years, then writing the professional exams, the relevant professional exam with Nigerian Institute of Building. Then thirdly, you are going to now go and get an interview with Council of Registered Builders, prepare some documents. So these are the things that you do before you can become a registered professional in building practice. And also in every other professional body like architecture, all of them have their exams they write that makes them qualified to become an architect or an engineer. So you cannot just wake up because you have 20 years experience on field as a nurse with a doctor or a surgeon and say you are not a surgeon. So it's different. So in the same manner, you can't say you have 20 years experience in construction and now you are automatically a registered builder or a registered engineer. It is not done that way. So you have to go through all this process and become licensed. What makes you a builder or engineer is the license that you carry. And that license is a liability. That is, if anything happens to this building, somebody is to be held responsible. If you look at the number of collapses that we have in Nigeria presently now, at the moment, most of the times there's nobody to be held responsible because there is nobody that is liable. That's the problem. So our developers, our investors, people that are investing in housing need to understand this, that if something happens to my building, I'm supposed to spend 20 million in this project and I spent 19 million and it collapses. Nobody is going to pay you. Nobody is going to go to jail for that reason because you did not go through the right channel, you did not engage the right professionals. So those are the problems that we're encountering in construction and the built environment generally.
All right, now I would want us to, talk about benefits that could be accruable from real estate. What are the benefits for someone watching us that is interested in, investing in real estate? What are the benefits?
Now, one of the things is that real estate really helps to build wealth over a period of time. So if Andrew Carnegie said that 90% of millionaires worldwide became so through real estate. So real estate is one of the ways you can actually secure your wealth. If you have 1 million today and you leave it in your bank account, inflation is going to come and that 1 million will be devalued. But land can never be devalued. So one of the things you can use to secure your wealth and remain, if you have become a millionaire and to remain one, is by investing in real estate. So now it gives you security, it helps you it gives your children confidence that if something happens to you, even if you don't have insurance, if you don't have all these things, you have real estate and your children will not suffer if something happens to you at the long run. So those are one of the benefits that people who invest in real estate. It helps you to build wealth over a period of time, it helps you secure your property, it hedges against inflation. If inflation is in the world, that doesn't mean house rent will stop. house rent will drop or land cost will drop. So land does not depreciate, it only appreciates. So it helps your money to also appreciate.
Okay, are there other things you would want us to know concerning real estate as an expert in the field? Is there anything we've not talked about here that you would want the public to really understand about real estate?
Okay, one of the things I would like the public to understand, especially in Anambra State here, one of the ways that Abuja and Lagos are doing to develop their city is by offering contracts that we call joint ventures. So when I mean joint ventures, you own a property in a choice environment and you don't have money to develop that property. All you can do is to go through your lawyer and tell your lawyer that you actually want to offer this land for development. You don't want to sell the land. You want to own an equity, like you want to own that land. But you are going to offer it to a developer. Okay, at the completion of this property, there is a percentage ratio that we're going to share the profit. You take this amount, I take this amount. That is how cities are being built. So some people have land, some people have money to develop, some people have skill.
So if you don't have one, you have the other.
You have the other one.
Okay.
So when we think about this synergy, we can start thinking about housing delivery in Anambra State. Because if you look at the road, look at our express, there is land everywhere. But there is nobody developing it because maybe the owners of those property do not really have the money to develop, or they are waiting for another 5 years to develop. But when we bring in the JV, joint ventures on table, we can start having developers flock into the state that there is actually joint ventures programs in Anambra State. Investors will come, we want to develop 10,000 housing units, and at the long run, both the landowner, the investor, and the skilled people will start making money. And the public also will start making money, and we start delivering house to people. So second thing that I want people to know is that for us to build Anambra State, our individuals need to start looking at owning their own properties. If you look at in America, over 70% of American families own their property through outright purchase or mortgage. They are always owning their properties. Most of them don't rent. So even our own people, when they migrate to the US or to the UK, when they get there, they go and buy property. But they don't buy in Nigeria. So we need to tell our people and encourage them in Anambra State here that they should start buying properties.
Or even, can we find out the secrets there that make them go there immediately and buy, and they're not buying here?
One of the secrets is actually mortgage.
Okay.
They offer mortgage, but the mortgage, we have actually look at your cash flow, maybe your earning ability, your earnability, and all those kind of things. So that's one of their secrets. And the other thing is that there are investors, there are already facilities. It's not as if they are building from scratch.
Okay.
There are already facilities that are available for purchase. So that's the things that we need to do in Anambra State. So when we bring JV to the table, somebody provide land, somebody develop, and somebody can buy. You don't have to buy a stand-alone apartment. You can buy flats. When you buy a flat worth 15 million naira, even if you don't want to live there, you can actually solve the housing issue by renting it out to people. You own it as an investment. Then over a period of time, you can sell that same property for an increased value after you've gotten rent for over years. So those are the things that we can do to deliver housing to individuals, also to earn money and to have a prosperous state like the wish of the governor.
There's really a prospect, a great prospect in real estate from all that you've been saying here. And of course, this is the much we have for you on Good Morning Anambra today. Would like to thank you so much for being here this morning. Builder Oyefemi Oyekunle Benjamin, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thanks for having me.
All right, and this is where we wrap up the show for this morning. We'd like to appreciate you so much for your time. My name is Nonye Nwokoye. Let's do this again tomorrow. It's a bye from here.